other day, my son was in the shower and I was putting away laundry, and all of a sudden I hear, "Mom, Mom, Mom, come look." My son was experiencing a little whoop, which for those of you who don't have young boys, that's very common when they're younger. But my son was shimmying in the shower, flinging it from side to side, and then goes, "Mom, look, it's big wee wee time." I tried to just ignore the situation, thinking it would go away on its own. But then my son asked, "Does Daddy ever get a big wee wee like this?" And that's where I had to put a pause. I had to shut that down. I immediately called my husband upstairs. I was like, "No, you get to deal with this. Like, men get to deal with men problems. I get to deal with my daughter's problems. But all the boys, they're your problems to deal with." And instead of, having an adult conversation like I thought he would. No. My husband falls on the floor laughing and then continues to shout with him, "Big wee wee time, big wee wee time." So that's how that's going.
My husband and I have 5 kids. 2 weeks ago we had a whoopsies. I am almost 15 months postpartum with our 5th, but I'm breastfeeding, so my period, I've only had 1 postpartum period, and I'm super out of breath, but I think it's time that we take a test. Okay, so the thing about me is I have line eyes, which means I always think I see 2 lines, regardless if it's negative. The chances of me being pregnant are actually slim to none, but you never know. We did have 3 of our 5 in under 2.5 years. All singletons. So. We'll see. I'll shut a brick if I'm pregnant. I don't think I am. Hopefully not. No. Oh. There's a fucking line. Oh my god.
What?
I'm pregnant.
How?
Oh, well.
Phoenix heartbeat. 126. Let's see what this is gonna say.
The lack of knowledge. Ma'am, this is my 7th pregnancy. There is no lack of knowledge. We're married. My husband will not use condoms because we're married. He just won't. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that. That's just where he's at. He won't. I don't really care. I don't like the feeling of them. I can't take the pill. The pill makes me suicidal. After I had my 5th, I did have the copper IUD placed in December of 2024, my 8-week postpartum visit. And turns out I had too much copper in my body, and I tried to, kick the bucket. So birth control is not it for me. It's not it for me. My husband doesn't want to use condoms. We're married. We can afford another child. So we knew that if it happened, and that was okay. Your ability to make assumptions at 40 is what's concerning to me. You should know. You don't know the whole story. You weren't in the room when this happened. You don't know anything about me. You just watched a 2-minute video on my reaction. And the reaction was valid. I had taken an ovulation test that day to make sure that I wasn't ovulating, and it wasn't positive. So I don't know. This was really, truly meant to be. God says in the Bible, I knew you before I knit you in your mother's womb. And yeah, that's where we're at. Some days are easier than others. Some days I'm still really upset about it because this was not my plan. We wanted to wait a little bit, but that's all right. God's plan is bigger than mine, and I know I will love this baby just the same as I love all the other babies that I have. And we can provide for these kids. We do provide for these kids. So the comments, man, crazy. What else was I gonna say? I don't know. Anyways, I know how this works. I have tried other measures, and we are extremely fertile. So my husband looks at me and I get pregnant at this point. He is getting a vasectomy come the spring because I am never doing this again. Never. Hope this helps. Just announced that I am pregnant with my 6th baby. My video currently has 1.4 million views and a lot of really awful comments. So I wanted to address a few of them and maybe the confusion or misunderstanding on why I'm having a 6th baby. I think a lot of people think, one, we don't know how babies are made, and we do. We are apparently very good at it. I'm 15 months postpartum with my 5th baby and still breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is not birth control. I don't think it's birth control, period. Some will disagree. Some will say the first 6 months it can be a form of birth control. I personally don't think that. Everyone's body is too different. And you are very fertile after having a baby, or you can be very fertile after having a baby. So I've never viewed breastfeeding as birth control. The reason so many women get pregnant when breastfeeding, and they're confused as to why, is because you ovulate and then you have your first period. Now, we do know that not every ovulation an egg is released. Okay, so I had my first postpartum period with my 5th baby on November 18th. He had just turned 13 months old, finally had a period, great, whatever. December comes, my period never came. Wasn't too surprised. He had picked up nursing a little bit more in the evenings, and that can be a cause for your period not returning. I know breastfeeding is not a form of birth control. I also know that your ovulation test, which is what I took the day that my husband and I had a whoopsies, does not confirm ovulation. Ovulation tests pick up your LH surge. If you have an LH surge, you could potentially release an egg. Okay? I took that ovulation test on December 21st. The day of our accident, and the test was not stark white, but it was not positive. So I didn't know. And I told my husband, I said, we could potentially end up with a baby. The reason I say it, or I said it was slim to none, is because the chances of you getting pregnant on the first try are extremely low, even if you are very fertile. We knew we wanted one more baby, possibly 2 more babies. But the original plan was to have a 3 to 5 year gap between our 5th and our 6th baby. That's not how this panned out, obviously. So with that being said, my husband is having his vasectomy procedure done before our 6th baby is here. I do not trust entirely vasectomies. There are so many vasectomy babies. And I know that because we have or will be having 5 of our 6 kids in under 6.5 years, I cannot emotionally, mentally, or physically handle another baby. So I am also going to most likely have a tubal. We are responsible, believe it or not, okay? These babies were planned. This baby was not planned. The other babies were planned. No, we are not wealthy. We live in a very affordable state and our income is decent. But we live a very minimalist lifestyle. We don't have a big fancy home. We don't drive these big, nice SUVs, okay? I have a 2019 Odyssey. My husband has a 2021 Silverado. We live in a teeny tiny house that fits us just fine. Will we expand on this house in the future if we don't move? Yes. We will be adding 2 to 3 more bedrooms and at least 1 more bathroom if we choose to stay here. And as of right now, that's our plan. We want to stay here. Who knows what the future holds? There's so much hate, and there's so many of you telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about and I'm just proving these commenters correct. There's only so much I can say on a video. There's also only so much I care to say. This video has had so many views and so many comments that it is no longer my comment section. It is no longer my business. What is my business is my family and how many children I choose to have, and it's no one else's business. And I know that, having a big family today comes with a lot of hate. I will never understand that. I am the oldest of 8, and although my family tree is very complicated and my childhood was far from anything even good, I love my siblings. I am so thankful for all 7 of them, and I don't know how I would have survived growing up without them. So that is one more comment I want to address, actually. I am able to give myself to every single one of my kids, and I do. Believe it or not. Everybody has their own threshold. I have a higher threshold. I'm also a stay-at-home mom, and that helps. My threshold is going to be 6. I know that after this 6th baby, I'm not going to be able to give any more of myself to anyone else. So I will be taking all of the measures that I can take to make sure that, I don't have another one. With that being said, I know a mom on here personally. I will tag her. She's phenomenal. When I look at her, she is like what I wish every child had as a mom. She's what I wish I had as a mom. She's got 7 kids, all under the age of, I think she had all 7 of them under the age of 8 or 9. That woman rocks motherhood and rocks having 7 kids. So just because somebody has 5, 6, 7 kids does not mean that their kids are being neglected. We all have different thresholds. Some cannot handle more than 1. Some can handle 7. It just depends. Let's stop hating. There's already enough hate in this world. Let's stop hating and judging. And if you have any questions or want to follow along on this journey, I'm happy to answer, and we would love for your support. So thanks for listening.
Want to know why I don't go to the family holiday parties anymore? It's because I have a literal demon in the family. There's a demon in the family, okay? I have this aunt, let's call her Lori, okay? Lori started dating this guy. Let's call him Alvin, all right? Back when I was 15. This was 13 years ago. I met this atrocious human being, okay? At first, things were really chill. Things were chill, okay? Out of everybody in the family, he spoke the most English, right? Because everybody else speaks Portuguese. We would have conversations, like full-blown conversations. And then I noticed that Lori, my aunt, was getting jealous. And she told me, don't speak English to him. Stop speaking English to him. I was like, okay, girl, like, it's not that deep. It's not that serious. Like, mind you, I'm 15 at the time. 15. A baby. A baby. Aunt Lori also always had a weird thing of trying to humble me and commenting on my weight. And she would, one time we got locked out of my house, and to get inside, we had to come through the window. And she said, I'll do it because I'm skinnier than you. Bitch, you're fucking 50, 100 years old, okay? Why are you in a competition with me? Like, why are we, what is this? Nonetheless, it wasn't until we started going on the family trips that shit got weird, okay? And I'm talking weird, all right? This guy, Alvin, would be all up on me every chance he got. And it was strange. It was really weird. Every year we would take a trip down to Florida or South Carolina, right? Have a little family excursion, okay? This particular year, Alvin, his brother, and his cousin came along with us, all right? On the way there, we stopped for a night to just relax and wind down, right? We stopped at a hotel and we all ordered food, okay? Now, we all gathered in one person's particular room. So it was like not a lot of space for a lot of people. I had to go grab the food. Alvin was in the way. Instead of stepping aside so I can pass through, he went like this, okay? And pressed his body up against me and was just like, oh, like dancing on me, like, and it made me so fucking uncomfortable. It made me so fucking uncomfy. It made me so uncomfy. It made me feel gross. He literally slithered his body up against mine to the point that my Aunt Lori called him out on it and was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Right? And I was just like, yeah, what are you doing? Like, that was weird. He was just like, I'm just playing around. I'm just playing around. Again, I'm 15. I'm 15. When we actually got to the Airbnb that we were staying at, they had a pool, okay? So I had my bikini on every now and then when I was going to the pool. And conveniently, okay, he would always ask for a hug. Always ask for a hug while I was in my bikini. And I let my mom know this, and I just decided, obviously, I was like, I'm not giving you a hug. Like, absolutely not. I would just ignore him. I would just ignore him and walk away. There was a moment when my ex-boyfriend was going to come meet us at the house. So I was waiting for him outside for his Uber to get to the Airbnb. And Alvin, his brother, and his cousin follow me outside to where I'm sitting by myself waiting for my ex to get there. And they just start bombarding me with random ass questions about my love life and like what we're doing. And like the whole interaction was just so uncomfortable and I felt trapped. And it was like this is not a safe space right now type of scenario. It wasn't until I let them know that I had to call him to see where he was at that they finally left me alone. And I just pretended to call my ex and like walked away from the situation. But it was so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable. And there have been so many other scenarios like that. His brother slapped my ass one time during a Christmas party after he was like drunk out of his mind. Like, had no care in the world, just did it. One time, Alvin fucking slapped my aunt's ass and then swung from her chandelier. Okay? This is another aunt, not his girlfriend, another aunt. Swung from her chandelier and then told her husband to take care of it because it was his house. And they still invite him over. He's still invited. He's still part of the family. How is that logical? Like, that's insane. That's insane. A little, like, disgusting human being in amongst the children and the family. He started a fight with my little cousin after my little cousin was being tormented by him. Like, he kept like nudging him and nudging him and nudging him. My cousin was like, whoa. And he like, you know, I was like, what is going on? And his girlfriend is not a saint either. Okay. His girlfriend, Aunt Lori, she's not a saint either. I had a low blood sugar one time on our family trip, and I had to make myself a quick peanut butter and jelly sandwich to raise my blood sugar, okay? And she just comes over and she's like, why don't you ever eat healthy food? This isn't healthy for you. I told her, listen, I have a condition that you have no idea about, okay? You have no idea what goes on in my body or what I need. So it's best if you just mind your fucking business. Okay? I didn't swear at her, but I did say something like that along the lines. But that's the reason why I just don't go over there anymore. Okay? It's uncomfy city. Okay? It's uncomfy city. I'm 28 right now, and that shit still happens. The most recent time was at somebody's birthday, and he was singing karaoke. He grabbed my hand, okay, and put it on his chest and like slid it down. And I immediately grabbed it away and I walked away because we have spoken about this so many times. I have mentioned this so many times to my family and they do nothing about it. So I'm not going to stay somewhere where I feel disgusted and disrespected. So
It's story time, guys, and I'm traumatized. I don't know how I got here, but I'm here. Okay, so I want to start this off by saying that if you are a girly pop in Arizona, at this point, I don't think it matters where you live in Arizona. If you live in Arizona and you encounter anybody with the initials of JW, that's between 29 and 30, who's a valet and works in Scottsdale and lives in Scottsdale, tall, attractive-y looking guy, feminine vibes sometimes, be weary, okay? Just know that you're walking into something that is probably not what you think it is. So buckle up. Here's the story time, because what the fuck? Those of you who've been following me for a while know that I decided to take a leap and try to date. Like, take a genuine chance at this, okay? And so I did. And God really said, you know what? You went through the depths of hell with your baby daddy. Let me just test you one more time. Let me make sure that you got that through your head, okay? And he gave me somebody 3 times fucking worse. Trust me, I can differentiate between a bad person and a person with terrible bad habits that treats girls like they're disposable and trash, okay? So I decided to give dating a real shot, okay? So I go on there, I'm on the dating apps, I'm talking to multitudes of guys, I'm texting, I'm trying to figure it out. Then this one comes along, a little bit younger. I talked to one of my girly friends about it and I said, I don't know. And she said, try the younger ones, like sometimes they're better. We have like a 5-year age gap difference. He's 29 turning 30, I'm 34 turning 35. So I was like, okay, whatever, like he's cute enough. So yeah, okay. And then immediately he messages me. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm out with my girlfriends. I was like, I'll message him later. I message him later. And then he goes, in the message, he goes, I need to take you out ASAP. And I was just like, oh, ASAP, okay. And then he was like, did I stutter? And oh, no, sir, you did not. Okay, here, fine. Exchange numbers, okay. I did due diligence. I thought I did enough due diligence. I did not. Okay, I found him on socials. However, big
freaking red flag that I just did. I'm new to dating, guys. I don't understand, okay? So I found his gram, and mind you, it's just flooded with almost 5K of girls that he is following. What? I kind of push it off because, you know, to each their own. If that's the thing that he's into, a little weary, but okay. So we're chit-chatting for quite some time. He's very kind, funny, nice, you know. And then I decide to wait a while until I see him. And finally, I was just like, okay, let's see each other. Mind you, I'm a consenting adult. I knew what I was going to get into. I'm not dumb, okay? I totally, you know, your girl was stressed. I had LSATs, I had finals, I had break coming up. It was fun time. It was go time. However, while we were talking, he was just like, I want to continue to see you. Let's continue to like move this forward and talk, you know? I spoke to this man every single freaking day for almost like 2 months, over 2 months. Every day. We did not miss a single day of talking. I do not know how that man had a capacity to do that, because I'm getting there. Okay, this is the long story. So we're talking every day, and he was just like, I want to see you, I want to move this forward. I felt something really weird. These vibes are a little off, okay? And I was trying to clock it early, and I was just like, okay, well, this is weird. He works a lot, okay? A lot. So he gets away with things by saying that he works a lot, and I won't take that away from him. The man does work. However, he uses that to bail or get you in at a time that he doesn't have to do much of anything. Continuously talking, checks in on you all the time, lets you know when he's busy, lets you know that he fell asleep, or that he had a rough day, or that, hey, sorry, I can't talk to you for a couple of hours. I'm going out with some friends or something. Dumb. And I'm just like, okay, thanks for letting me know. I appreciate that. But every day, like, good morning, my love. Good morning, babe. Good morning, baby. Uses the pet names because obviously he can't differentiate all the girls and he doesn't want to mess up. I start picking up on some things, and I'm like, something's not adding up, and I keep bringing things up to him. And this is the first time in my life where I'm like, nope, I'm not holding anything back. If I have something I'm going to say it. So we're learning, okay? I tell him, I was like, I don't know, I feel like maybe I'm on a roster. I said, this just feels very weird. Things are just off. And he's just like, why are you stressing about us, babe? Like, everything's okay. We're fine. Like, I want to continue this. I want to move forward. And I'm like, okay. And he's just like, are you asking if you want a serious relationship right now? And I was like, no, I don't want that right now. Like, I'm trying, like, I want this to kind of, you know, go slowly. And he was just like, yeah, me too. Like, I want dates. I want to do all that. Okay. But then he gets really weird, and I start, like, just emotionally spiraling. I have the biggest anxiety all the time around him. I'm like, what is going on? I could not put my finger on it, and everything just felt so off, because he went from, like, everything was great and hunky-dory to, like, so fall off, to, like, falling off. And so I keep bringing things up to him, and then he starts saying that he's just having a really rough time at work, and that he has something traumatic happening in his life, okay? Something traumatic. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, what am I supposed to do here? Anyways, fast forward through all this. I'm having anxiety. I'm like, I need to cut this off. Every time I try to cut it off with him, he was just like, I don't want to lose you. I just need you. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? So then finally, this past weekend, he goes on some little divorce party thingy. And I'm like, aren't you going through something traumatic, and you're doing that, and you're going to Vegas? Like, okay, to each their own. How they heal is how they heal. But that's a little bit weird, but whatever. So he comes back, that he's like, mind you, still didn't miss a beat of talking to me, made sure that he, like, pinged in, and then if I don't respond for a couple of hours, he'll ping in and be upset and be like, what's the matter? Okay, so then he gets back, and I was like, something just feels off. I'm just gonna cut this off. I can't do this anymore. I have my LSAT on Saturday. I just need to get away from this one. There's something so wrong. So I send him this huge message. Yes, I know, they don't care, but I sent the message, okay? This is like data that I have been collecting through the time of being with him, and I just put it all in one, and I said, you know what? I think this is, like, run its course. Because, like, what is happening? Because I'm like, all the things that he could respond to. It finally hit a point where he just could not respond to it anymore. Like, he could not make up excuses. He could not say anything for all that. It was the accountability that he could not do. Mind you, this man texts me every day at 11 o'clock, and he told me that. He said, I'm not going to text you till 11 o'clock every day. I just want you to know that's just what happens. Like, I don't text before that. I'm regulated by that time. Okay, a little weird, and I told my best friend that, and she didn't like him because of that, and she said, that's the big red flag, Ashley. And I said, I don't know. He seems very schedule-oriented. To me, it maybe made sense. And I sent this big, long text to him
in the morning, and he sat on it and had it in his hands until 11:03, like on the dot, like he always texts me and says, yeah, you're really great, you're right, okay, I wish you the best of luck. And then I start, of course, crying uncontrollably. It was like almost a relief, but almost sad, because I'm like, you fought so long for me for everything, but then when I finally brought something up that like you couldn't like conceptualize or talk about, now you're gonna be like, okay, yeah. So I was on my phone with my bestie, and she was just like, girl, are you in those groups, like, are we dating the same guy? And I'm like, you know what, I actually am, because I had a best friend that was on there, and she was like, there's a funny story on there, girl, you gotta get on there and read it for yourself. Okay, so I'm in the group. I go in there, I type in his name. Are you kidding me? He is in there hot and heavy with countless posts from countless girls, with posts all in there. Tons of girls just talking about how he does this literally all the time. This man's roster is deep. He's a hoe for show. Biggest hoe I've ever met in my whole freaking entire life. My baby daddy was bad. This is like twice as bad. Anyways, they're all saying how he's a terrible person, and then when they didn't want him, he was so mean, he was calling them ugly, and they're 4 out of 10s, and he's very much that type, okay? Just degrading and mean. And then, so I start, like, I text him, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Running out of time, I know this is a long video, but basically, I tell him everything that I saw, and he says, I'm sorry you feel that way, I'm just going through something traumatic. Mind you, the girl said that he was going through something traumatic then, too. And he goes, yeah, I was going through something traumatic a couple of years ago. You can believe whatever you want on those sites, like, whatever, I know who I am, I'm a great person. Like, he would not let me leave on the foot of me saying that he was a bad guy. Like, he absolutely did not. And then he said that his friend offed himself, and so that's why he's going through something traumatic now. And I don't even know if that's believable, because of how much, like, everything that the girls were saying. He did not want me to leave off the foot of him being the bad guy, okay? He wanted to go off of the foot of we were on good terms. And mind you, he has been doing this for years, okay? It goes back years. He's been in this pattern and routine of doing this to girls for years. He cannot keep one for all that long, because they eventually catch on, or he's just on to this next one. And his roster's deep, guys, like deep, deep, deep. And then I posted in there, and then there was like 3 or 4 girls that were like, oh my God, he was texting me around this time, he was texting me during that time. I was like, what? And other stories in there are about how, like, he was cheating on them, and like he ghosted them out of nowhere and would come back and say like something traumatic happened, can we talk, or this and that. Like, this guy it is insane. So that's my story. I don't know if I said anything. Very long video. If you watch this, thanks. I don't know. Love you guys. Bye.
Get ready with me while I tell you guys how my ex cheated on me with the Pizza Hut worker. So me and my ex were together for 5 years. I had met him when I was 13. And one specific day, I remember, like, he was on a work trip to Tennessee, I believe it was. And he had just started acting different. Like, he didn't want to call anymore. He wasn't really texting me. And mind you, we were together for like a year and a half already. So I feel like that's kind of like shady to me, honestly. I had messaged him like, yo, why haven't you like texted me? Did I do something? And like, he didn't respond till like 3-4 hours later. So that's when I kind of felt like, oh, okay, something's wrong. That night I went to bed not thinking too much of it. I'm like, okay, he's probably gonna break up with me soon. Like, I already felt like something was coming. So that night we went to bed. He lets me know that he's coming back the following day. I had like looked up his spam account, and I saw that there was like 2 followers. His spam is private, so I couldn't see who that other follower was. And I reached out to this one girl he was super, super close with in like middle school. I was like, hey girl, like, I don't really know what to do. He's treating me like shit. Can you give me like some advice? Because, mind you, I'm assuming this is his best friend. So she looks at my message and she blocks me. So next day comes, I'm still stuck on this spam thing. Like, who could he be following? Like, he's being really, really weird. I try logging into the account, and I don't know how I guessed the password, but I did. And I get in and I go to see who he was following. And sure enough, it was his old girl best friend. I text him and I'm like, dude, like what the fuck, you're cheating on me, aren't you? Like, you're cheating on me with her. And he's like, no, you're tripping. That day we had plans to go to the mall. So a couple hours go by from being at the mall, and we are just like talking, and he finally like confesses like, yeah, I don't think we should be together, I want to be with her. And I'm like, what do you mean you want to be with her? She's your best friend. And that's when he was like, no, like, we used to talk, we used to date, all this other shit. And he was like, I got an Uber home, I just want to go home. I started like crying at that point, and I'm like begging him like, please don't leave me. He saw me crying. He was like, okay, I'll stay with you for like another hour, that's it. In my town, the mall we were at, it has a Dave & Buster's inside, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically just like an arcade center. So we go into Dave & Buster's. At this Dave & Buster's, you had to scan the QR code to see the full menu, and we were hungry. I have his phone, I'm scanning the QR code, and I see someone texts him, and it's like, when are you coming? Under the name Pizza Hut. I see him get that message, and he just looks at me. So I walk out of Dave & Buster's with his phone, and he follows behind me. Pizza Hut starts calling, and I pick up, and someone's like, hello, when are you coming? So that way I can get ready. I remember grabbing his phone and then like getting ready to slam it. He's like, okay, I'm gonna stop talking to her. Like, it doesn't mean anything, you know, what they usually say. And me, like a dumbass, I believed it. I reached out to her basically saying like, hey, this is so-and-so's girlfriend. I just want to know, like, what has he been telling you? And she was like, girlfriend, like that he had told her that we had broke up, that we ended things, and that he wanted to rekindle things with her. Basically, she had sent like this whole screen recording basically of their whole entire message. Me and her had became like super close. She had swore that she had stopped talking to him and she was done talking to him. I couldn't put aside that he cheated. Honestly, like, I feel like when someone cheats, it really affects you mentally. I had told her, hey, are you still talking to him by chance? Because he knew things that I would tell her. Eventually she confesses to me like, hey, I'm sorry, but we have been talking. I just remember him at this point like begging me, please don't leave me. If you leave me, I'm gonna unalive myself. Just things like that, you know, like what a narcissist says. The girl he had cheated on me with, low-key, just became weird as fuck. I had gotten a screenshot sent to me of her and her friend basically saying how they wanted to unalive me and they wanted to fight me. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys want other story times, let me know, because girl, do I have some fucking stories. And if you're with the man who cheated on you, girl, leave that man like right now. I'm waiting, mama. Have a good day. Thank you so much for watching this. If you guys want to know the products I use, just comment down below and I can let you guys know.
Guys, I felt like I should tell you guys some of the crazy things I used to do when I used to be a girlfriend. I only wrote a few of them because I didn't really want to expose myself that openly. So I'm just gonna talk about the ones that were not so bad. So again, disclaimer, this was like when I used to be a girlfriend, which is why I stay away from being a girlfriend. I have definitely changed. I've grown. I'm not this person. I'm not psycho anymore. Start with number one, which is not so bad, but hack his accounts on social media. Yes, I had all his accounts on my phone. I had his Instagram, I had his Snapchat, I had even his email just in case I got locked out. And I did this by going through his phone and then going through his notes, because every man has his passwords on his notes, and then I just like took a picture of it. Mind you, we were long distance, so I only got to see the man like once a month. So I would take opportunities to grab his phone every time that he would go to sleep, just because, you know, he never knew this. He never found out about me ever being like about that. And then the next thing that I was gonna say, but the next thing was I had a fake, my little iPad, not this one, and it was logged into this iCloud. So anytime he would get a message, I would get it, and every call he got, I would get. And oh my god, this is like insane. But at the end of the day, he would do stuff that would make me go that way. I was a sweet little innocent girl when I met him, and he was like doing these things, you know. He cheated on me 3 months into it, and so I was like, fuck you, motherfucker. And so I was like on top of him. He never actually did cheat on me ever again, because I had all his fucking shit, and he didn't know that, obviously, but I made sure. That's not the point. That's not the point. Okay, lied to be pregnant because I got locked off. So one time I did get locked off of all his shit, and it was like a year in, whatever. And I was like, no, he's gonna cheat on me. And I'm just like, obviously, I'm just so psycho. And so I told them that I was pregnant, and because I was supposed to see him in 2 weeks. And so I was like, oh my god, 2 weeks, he's gonna fucking cheat on me during these 2 weeks. So I lied to him that I was pregnant. I was like, yeah. So in my head, I was like, oh, he wouldn't cheat on me because he's gonna be stressed the fuck out that I'm pregnant. And I would make it worse by sending pictures of me being bloated. Like, I was like, oh, it's growing. We were 17. Oh wait, no, we were 18. Next is I almost ran him over. Okay, that one is not that I almost ran him over. He got on the way. When the day that I did find out that he cheated on me, we drove all the way to the pier and in Louisiana. Took the car. I remember, like, I didn't even know how to drive. I got in the driver's seat because he was like outside. I locked it and I just drove off. He got on the way. Okay, make a fake number and text them to see who he thinks it is. Yes, I created a fake phone number. I texted, I miss you, just because I wanted to see who are you gonna think it is, like, because he had 2 ex-girlfriends. So I was really wondering, like, which one of these 2 would you think it is, right? So we were literally on a FaceTime call, and I just fucking say I miss you, just because I wanted to see his live reaction when it message came
down. And so it's not funny. It's not funny. So he reads it and he's like, oh, I'm gonna call you back. I'll call you back. And I was like, okay. I was so fucking mad. And so then he was like, who is this? And I was like, Slenderman, right? I was just like random. He calls me back and he's like, I think Evelyn is texting me. I was like, really? Why? He's like, I just got a I miss you text. And I'm like, how do you know it's her? He's like, I just know it's her. I was like, motherfucker. It was me. I was just fucking testing you and you failed. You got half a fucking point because you called me and let me know, but yet you're thinking of her. Like, you didn't even get an answer about who it was. So that really infuriated me. And I really feel bad that, like, I did all those things, because I feel like this is why he doesn't really call me back. You know what I mean? Not that I've been trying to reach. Guys, it's been 3 years. It's been 3 years since we broke up. Yeah, and I'm still not over it. So, yeah, let me know if, don't let me know shit. I don't care. Thank you.
In November, I got a call saying that there had been a family emergency, and if I didn't accept temporary custody of my 5-year-old niece, she would be placed in foster care. I am the person who, I don't even babysit. I am like scared to hold the baby. You know, I'm that person. I feel like I'm gonna drop the baby if I hold it. But what are you gonna do, right? So I was like, yep, I'll take her. So I get her. First, I pick her up and then I take her to school. I didn't even know that she was in school. I walk up to the building and I'm like, do you recognize these people? Do you go here? And I will say she was really happy to see me. I'd seen her once in the past year. So I kind of was like, is she going to even like remember me? And now she's going to be living at my house. And just the whole thing was like really stressful. Because it's also so hard for a kid that age to be away from their parents. It's like a biological dissonance in their little bodies to be away from their moms like that. So it was like kind of like horrifying to me to witness this. I got her to school 45 minutes early, but whatever, still counts. And then I had her for a week, and at the end of the week I thought, you know, that she was going to go home. And I sort of had been telling her that because she would kind of ask about her parents and ask what was going on. And I would say, you know, a couple more days. But then at the end of the week, I got a call that told me that I was going to keep her possibly for a month, possibly for, I don't know, a long time. And I freaked out a little bit because, look, that first week was like vacay, fun time, you know, we bought a bunch of treats and we don't care about when you go to bed and we don't whatever. Like, I mean, I had to set boundaries with her for stuff because I can't, you know, I worked full time. It was like a lot, you know. She had to learn how to be understanding of like this crazy situation, and I still have to work. I still have to do all these things. So she couldn't just have everything she wanted. And I was like, oh, she is going to be pissed when she learns that she is not going to get to go home today or tomorrow. And I will say, despite being low-key terrified of kids, mainly because I had a hard time growing up. I had a hard time as a kid. I didn't really know how to be a kid. I wasn't really ever treated like a kid. I was treated like a little adult my whole life. And so then even when I was a kid, I didn't know how to talk to kids. I didn't know how to be around kids. I don't know. I had a hard time. And so I have always had that little like discomfort around kids because I'm like, they're not going to like me. Like, I just feel like they're not going to like me. But I want kids. I want one kid. And I have always been nervous about my ability to be a parent because I don't feel like I've received a lot of nurturing, really. And I know that kids need that. And so because I didn't know what that looked like, I really questioned my ability to give that to a kid. So 1 week into having my niece, I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have to tell her that she's staying with me longer. And I was on the phone with my mom trying to be vague about it. And the fact that I called my mom for emotional support was mainly because my therapist was on leave. And so that's how you know times were desperate, okay? So I was calling my mom for emotional support, and I was talking to her about it, not negatively, but just on the phone with her while my niece was coloring, playing, whatever. And I didn't think my niece was paying attention, but she must have. When we picked her up, she had a suitcase that had a sticker on it that she had like written her name on, and it was clearly from when she was in preschool. And she had like a sticker like on her cubby or something. They must have given it to her, and then she must have stuck it on her suitcase at some point. And when I got off the phone with my mom, I see that my niece has taken that sticker with her name on it, and she put it on the door to the spare bedroom, and she had been calling it her room, and we've been calling it her room. And so she put the sticker on there, and then I look at her like hair stuff and her shoes, and she's like reorganized all her little hair clips in a row and all her like shoes, and she's like tidied her room to make it like hers. Like she's like nesting or something. And I'm like, oh, I think in your culture, this means that you want to stay. And she had said before that she wanted to stay with us and she wanted to live in our apartment. She wanted to live with us. But I kind of just thought that was like, I don't know, just what she was saying. And it wasn't until I saw that sticker and saw her stuff all organized that I realized that, oh, she really does feel safe here and happy here. And I was able to like create a nice little atmosphere for her. And when I talk about this situation, people tell me, oh, you helped this girl, you did such a good thing, you were there for her, whatever. And I understand why people say that, but when I think about the weeks that I had her, I just think about that sticker on the door, and I think about how there was something in me that needed to be healed or validated or whatever, and there really wasn't anybody who could have done it other than her, and she did. So I just feel lucky for the whole thing. I think I'm going to do more story times about this era of my life, but I just wanted to quickly come on here because I fear I have stressed out about 25,000 people with this story time. I just want everyone to know that she was with me for 3 weeks, about 3 weeks. So not a huge amount of time by any means. She is back with her parents. She wants to be with her parents. She loves being back with her parents. Her parents are so happy to have her back. They did everything they had to do to get cleared to do all of that. I would hate me if I was watching this, but I'm not going to get into the details of what happened because I don't feel like that part of it is my story to share, and I don't think they want their business on TikTok. So I would be pissed if I was you guys, but I think there are enough people who are able to sort of read between the lines, and there are a handful of options that people can sort of choose from, but I kind of feel like I'm not going to share those details. It also feels unfair to do that to my niece. So yeah, I'm not going to share that. But I just want to reiterate to everyone that I see her regularly. We did this swan boat ride. This is my fiance. This is the kiddo. She was very nervous that the boat was going to sink. I don't know if that's a trauma response or what, but we weren't on that boat for very long, but I still think it was a nice experience for her. Anyway, I probably will do more videos about this as I'm just processing and thinking about things and connecting things and whatever. And now I've had some space where I'm not concerned with her immediate needs, so I can now focus on what does this mean for me, etc. But rest assured, her safety and her well-being is always my top priority. She will tell me if she needs anything. She tells me stuff all the time. I tell her over and over again, you can tell me anything. I'm gonna love you forever. we're going to be best friends forever. You can come here anytime, you can sleep over anytime, you can come hang out with us, hang out with the cat, right? So I think things are good. I hope things continue to be good. It's stressful. Ooh, it's really stressful. It's so stressful. How do I word this? I feel so lame being so vague, but I don't want to come in here and be super hunky-dory, like this is some kind of comedy movie where everything just sort of ends up perfect, because this was really hard on her, and I can't control what other adults do as much as I try. So if other people have experienced something like this, I know I saw some comments talking about that, but if anybody has any thoughts or advice or things that I can do from my position now, that would help me. My therapist is back from being on leave, so I'm also going to be chatting with her and just making sure that I'm checking all the boxes, right? So, but if anybody else has any thoughts, I would really appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks. Oh, and one more thing. People are picking up on that before this incident happened, I'd only seen her once in the past year. I was in a situation where I felt like being around her parents was enabling a dynamic that I don't agree with. And now post this event, I do have a relationship with my niece, and I do have a relationship with her parents, because you can't be close with a 5-year-old and not interact with their parents. Like, you have to, it just doesn't work like that. So, yeah. So now, do I kind of feel like I'm enabling it? Yeah, I do. I feel like I'm an enabler. So it's sort of like I can't win, but I think this is all for the best. I think I'm doing the best thing.
It is officially over for you bitches. I have been waiting to have access to this voice so that I could tell you some raunchy stories, okay? I'm so excited. You should be so excited.
Okay, here is the long-awaited story about how my bridesmaid and my flower girls dropped out 21 days before my wedding. It's a year later and we are not friends. I have not spoken to her since this happened. And honestly, I just hope that she's okay. I hope that if she is going through something, that she's all right, because this was very out of character for her, and it was something that, I was hoping to fix, and it just never happened. So yeah, let's get into it. I met her at the NICU because I was taking care of her daughter. After she got discharged, we pretty much became best friends. We had followed each other on Facebook and we're just keeping up with each other. We had coffee dates. It was so fun. We pretty much led totally different lives, but somehow it worked. Somehow we were just really good friends. I moved away from Knoxville. She would come and visit me, and we were best friends, and it only made sense to me that she was my bridesmaid. And I thought it was really special that, I'm so close with her and her daughters. Her daughters were going to be my flower girls. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It was super special to me, and it had a lot of sentimental value. And I thought, what better way to include her girls than for them to be my flower girls? As a bride, you want every single one of your bridesmaids to be at the bachelorette. Although we are completely different, Miami is not really her thing. I was like, you have to come, it'll be so fun. She's from a small town. She's a stay-at-home mom. She homeschools her kids. Like, Miami's kind of like, woo, like that's crazy. I thought that this would be so fun for her to like get away from the kids, get away from the husband, do her own thing, hang out with the girls. It did not go as I planned. That is the main reason why she ended up dropping out of my wedding. I would never want to blast someone's financial situation. Times are hard, especially when you have an entire family to take care of. But I wanted all of my girls to be there if they could, and if that meant paying for her flight, paying for her Airbnb, I was going to have her there. That was just what was important to me, and I wanted her to be there if she wanted to, obviously. And it seemed like, this was something that she was super excited about. Fast forward to when we get to Miami, whole different situation. She was pretty much self-isolating from the group. I am not friends with mean people. One thing that I knew for sure was that they were all gonna get along. Like, we have one thing in common, it's being friends with me. We're all a good time. So I knew for sure that that was not gonna be an issue. She started self-isolating, and it was kind of disappointing because we would all be eating breakfast at the table and she's over on the couch just kind of like moping and eating her breakfast. And I'm like, dude, there's a whole chair for you over here. Like, what are you doing? Come on, come over here. And she would just kind of like, and like sit down and eat her food and would not participate in any kind of conversation. I would ask my maid of honor, like, is she okay? Like, do you notice that too? It was kind of something that everyone noticed, but we're just trying to like be more inclusive, be more kind, like reach out more. And she just could not hide the fact that she was not having a good time. We went to this really amazing restaurant in Miami. It's kind of like a club, and we were turning up at the table, drinking, eating everything. And she truly just could not hide her dismay for everything that was going on. She did not look like she was having a good time, and she just wasn't trying to hide it. Not trying to be selfish, but it's my bachelorette. I asked all of you to be here for a good time, to hype me up. Everyone was doing their part, and she couldn't hide the disgust on her face for being here. None of what we were doing was a surprise to anyone. My maid of honor made a very detailed itinerary of everything that was going to be happening throughout the trip, and so none of it was a surprise. We went to a beach club, danced and partied all day. We were day drinking. She did not dance. She pretty much just laid on the daybed and took a nap. At this point, my bachelorette was almost over, and so I really just could not pay her any mind anymore. Really, she's not having a good time. She can't wait to get back home to her kids. Hope you had fun. Like, we'll talk about it later, but I wasn't gonna let it ruin the rest of my trip. Fast forward to Monday, we got back Sunday. I'm just gonna FaceTime her and kind of see like what was going on, what was happening, if she's okay, if there's something we need to talk about. Like, let's problem solve so that I don't have you acting like this on my wedding day, because that's not going to fly with me. Pretty much denied that she was acting any kind of way. She did not apologize. We kind of just carried on like normal. We had picked out flower girl dresses for her daughters. She sent me videos of them trying them on and how happy they were. I had sent them fake flower petals to practice with, and they were using those. It seemed like everything was just fine and normal, and it was going to be okay. And I was like, okay, maybe she was just having a bad week. Maybe she's just going through something. That's okay. I'll be there for her if she needs me. That Tuesday or Wednesday, after the Monday night that I had FaceTimed her, I get a text message from her saying, hey, can we talk? I was working night shift at the time. When I woke up, I was like, hey, I'll call you on my way to work. Okay, cool. So I call her. I'm thinking that this is just gonna be a normal conversation. Hey, how are you? What's going on? Something about the flower girls, like anything but what was about to be said. She goes, I think that it's best that my family and I do not come to your wedding. And I'm on my way to work. Like, I'm on the highway, I'm driving, and I just am like speechless. Like, my jaw is actually on the floor. And I'm like, and I just am letting her speak. And she says, not only did I get someone to watch my kids, I spent the money to get to Miami, and the fact that you were just so ungrateful that I was there and had something to say about the way that I was acting. My husband and I don't think that it's a good idea for us to make the trip all the way to Texas to be in your wedding. I had no words. I simply had no words. I did not know what to say. And I was so caught off guard by the entire conversation that I just was like, I was like, this sounds like something that you had been thinking about. Have you completely made up your mind, or do I get a say in this? Do I get to like try and change your mind about this at all? She goes, no, I don't think so. Like, honestly, we've thought about it, and that's going to be our decision. And I was like, okay. And honestly, I think I like blacked out, but she was like, no, like, we really wish you the best and hope that your wedding goes well. And I was just like, all right, click. And I'm just like, did this just happen? A bridesmaid and both of my flower girls dropped out 21 days before the wedding? Blew my freaking mind. For me to have asked her if she was okay because of her behavior, I did not know that the consequences of my actions were gonna be that, okay? After that, there wasn't a single follow-up text, anything from her, and I decided that I was going to write her just how I was feeling, what I thought of the situation, and how like kind of devastated I was. Not only are you not coming to my wedding, but I can't be friends with you after this. Things are not going to be okay, and it just felt like I was being broken up with before my wedding. I don't know if I said this before, but she left the conversation that we had on that Tuesday as if like, hey, if you ever need anything or want to talk, like let me know. And I sent her this really, really, really long message, and she never messaged me back. So yeah, we're not friends anymore, and it was one of those things where I was just like, okay, maybe I was better off because I didn't want her sour attitude at my wedding. I just wanted everything to go perfectly. So maybe that was a blessing in disguise, but it honestly was so stressful in the moment.
If you're gonna call me beautiful, call me ugly instead, because I've been in really bad relationships, only toxic ones, and so I don't know how to take the compliment my way, my way.
So, put a finger down if one time you were dating this guy and you got pregnant, and so y'all were like, okay, well, I guess, you know, we're gonna have a baby. And he makes this like AI generated photo of what your baby would look like, and he pretends to be super excited, and he's like, oh my god, this baby's so cute, but the baby is like a toddler and a boy. And then he jokingly says, my parents are just gonna be glad I'm not gay. And you're like, who says that? Okay, so he continues to pretend that he's super excited, and then one day he's freaking out about like, are your dogs gonna even get along? And what if he has to like, I don't know, pull his weight as a man or as a partner or as a parent? And he is freaking out about that. And you're just like, you figured the freak out. And so then he's like, is it too late for an abortion? And you're like, there was never abortion on the table. Like, that was never a consideration. Ever. And you know that. And so instead of getting rid of the baby, you got rid of the boyfriend. But before that, also, I forgot to tell you, we did like a gender reveal to his parents. After he told his parents, which he was very apprehensive to tell his parents, even though he was like a 30-year-old man that had his life together, and I was also a 29-year-old woman who had my life together. We both have good jobs, good careers. It's not like a terrible thing, unplanned, but such is life. And so we tell his parents, and we find out the baby's a girl, and everybody, including him, says that they were upset that it wasn't a boy. And you're like, what a weird thing to say. It's a baby. It's healthy. It's a blessing. And you're like, listen, like, I'm not going to be with a man who doesn't want this baby because it's not a boy and didn't really want it to begin with. So no, like, I'm not interested in pursuing this relationship. Like, you could be a father, but I'm not interested in being in a relationship with someone who doesn't share the same values as me. And so then you go into preterm labor in October. Your water broke, and so they stop your labor, and they keep you in the hospital for another week, and you have the baby at 33 weeks. And so you text him when you're in the hospital, and you're like, hey, I'm in the hospital, I'm going to be here till she's born. And he doesn't respond, but he reads it, and you see that he reads it. And then, like I said, a week later, you have the baby, and she's in the NICU. And you text him again, and you say, she's here, she's in the NICU. And he reads it within an hour, and he still proceeds to not respond. And so then you text him, and you basically say, go fuck yourself, and give your baby your name, and leave him off the birth certificate, and he hasn't even asked if she's okay or if she's alive or like how she's doing. And that was in the beginning of November.